back to Avenues of Wisdom. My name is Kimberly, and I have my fiance, Mark, joining us today.
Hey, everybody.
I want to give him a introduction that is authentic to all the things and the gifts that he does. So Mark is a masculinity leader. He's a medicine keeper. He is a yoga teacher. He also is a chef. The list goes on.
But most importantly.
Yeah, most importantly, he's my fiance. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And this is a video about our story and how important it is to share the deep connection of relation and union and the learning process that comes in with that gift that we've both received. And we think it's important to share the honesty of that journey in those chapters. And that's our intention as we sit down together today in front of the camera. And yeah, there's no better way to explain that within partnership, and to have Mark here really share his expression, because he drops in a really beautiful way. And he's a leader, and so there's a lot to learn from, and there's a lot to learn here as he's a man of the desert. And I think that shows another level of strength, being from the desert and having those land caretaking skills and birthrights, and me coming from the water and learning here in the desert and how the water and the sun of each of us and our relationship mix. Yeah. So I want to begin with, there's a lot that's been going on recently. There's been a lot of shifts, but just a short introduction into our story and how we met. 2024, summer 2024, about 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago. So we met off of Hinge.
The app you download to delete.
Sponsored by Hinge. We always joke sponsored by Hinge.
I feel like, Hinge, if you see this, you know what to do.
But yeah, we had our first date via Hinge.
Mm-hmm.
And upon my moving here, big life changes in the desert. And a lot of that was, in steps to receiving you and this relation. Yeah, our first date, I think it's important to share just a summarized version of how that went for us, mm-hmm. and how that really solidified us together. If you want to share that, that would be beautiful.
It was a very profound experience overall. I always like to share the parts like leading up. I had just gone through extraordinary life change, huge like redirection, and huge kind of stepping into and claiming that I deserve to experience a life that's happy and joyful, and kind of experiencing a lot of love and potency and belonging. Those are all things that I have struggled with through my journey, and have felt disconnected from my own sense of self-love and love from others, and also very disconnected from a sense of purpose, meaning, or belonging. And so I feel like a lot of my life has been very challenging in the sense of trying to navigate towards what purpose, belonging, and love, and deserving love, that embodiment actually and that experience is, or searching for that. So I met you at a time in my life where I feel like I started putting a lot of those pieces together, and thankfully and luckily kind of being held and received by a lot of good people in community who helped, help me access, hold, and nurture some of those understandings. Shout out to the people. Y'all know who you are. And yeah, so like with that very profound change in my life, I met you like a couple months into that experience. And so that was like huge and wild. But so first date, Yeah, we met off dating apps, and when I got on the apps, I was like not expecting a connection like this. I was open to it, but it was not something that I thought would happen for me in a way.
Yeah.
It was my first time utilizing apps like that, and I had my own, I guess, judgments or criticism of like that whole space, and I guess, you know, rightfully so, because a lot of time I hear and see it could lead to just not healthy connections in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But, you know, I spent some time, as I remember, building my profile and just like really poured this, like, for lack of a better word, the sense of like a prayer into this little dating profile, right? And I think it really caught your eye or attention, because I'm putting my belief systems, my values, my like devotion to my community and the land and my ancestors and just the way these things are just core components and pillars of like who I am as a person. But it caught your eye, and immediately, or our matching interest led to, I think, a message from you saying something about you were also working and deepening your ancestral connections and understanding and kind of piecing together, you know, the mystery of your lineage and all the gifts, the power, and some of the unpackings, right, that come through that. Yeah, so that was immediately like just a very powerful thing to resonate with, because ain't nobody else on that.
No,
nobody else on that app was responding.
Saying stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you said like, yeah, you said working with the ancestors in the land, and you were like, with the corn, working with the corn.
Yeah, there's a photo of that.
Yeah, I remember that and saying, oh my God. I said, oh my God. And then immediately, like, yeah, you had followed up with a message about tea, and us meeting for tea. We had agreed upon going on a Kava Bar. You had tried kava. I had not.
Correct.
And, yeah, and it's like a Polynesian root, you know, served in a bowl, cold, kind of like.
It can be served warm too, I think.
Is it warm too? Okay. Yeah, and that first date, just us having deep conversation for hours at the Kava Bar, and
more hours after the Kava Bar.
More hours after the Kava Bar. And, yeah, I think fast forwarding to that night and really solidifying our deep connection together and having it really land, because it's so like full of, I don't know, it's kind of like an ecstasy feeling when you meet somebody so like unified and aligned with like who you are. It really is like looking at in the mirror. Yeah, it had been a long waiting for me, you know. Yeah, so at the end of that night, I remember saying like, yeah, you are what I prayed for.
I feel like we gotta cue some effects or something right there.
Yeah,
like,
mascara.
You know, your response about just acknowledging and reciprocating, I think that was a big theme in my life, like finding spaces that were reciprocal and spaces where I am seen or acknowledged or valued, right? And immediately off the bat, there was that value, that shared values, and just acknowledgement of like, hey, I see you're working in this way. I'm also like kind of on a journey similar. So yeah, I was like, well, there's this Kava Bar I've never been. I've had kava once, and it was like super cash. Like a buddy brought it back from Hawaii and like just made it in like a beverage, and I kind of like experienced like something like semi-pleasant, and I was like, well, I've been wanting to go to this Kava Bar. Are you interested in that? And I said like tea or kava, and you're like, let's try the kava.
Yeah, I want to try the kava.
And shout outs to Tucson Kava Bar.
Tucson Kava.
Potentially another sponsor of this podcast.
Every local place.
We love it there. No, I mean, yeah, again, and I think, so I get there, I'm off a whirlwind, right? Like work was rough, been planning like an event, stuff going on there. I just finished teaching a yoga class, So I'm already at the end of my day and spent. And so I partially was even like, God, do I even follow through? Like right now I'm just so exhausted. But the thing that kept me was like, well, you know what? I'll allow this person to see you in this state and for you to just, again, uphold to your agreement and like show up the best you can. And, you know, if this person has an issue with that, they're, well, fine. But maybe they'll be able to meet you as you are and see you for like, meet you where you're at. So we meet at Kava. And there's, just a lot of effortless conversation. Kava was, you know, I think there was a lot of laughter and playfulness there. And Kava's a great facilitator of like just kind of smoothing, relaxing, just soothing any, I guess, nervous energy. And also good, just a conversation facilitator. Yeah. So we were just talking a good amount. Yeah. So it was nice, and then we just continued the night on. And you know, one thing I always like talking about as that night continues is how effortless the friendship aspect started kind of unveiling itself.
Coming in, yeah.
You know, immediately we're kind of like turning on YouTube videos, sharing like favorite music with each other, and there was just a comfort. Right? Like, I think normally I'm more of a nervous kind of person in a type of way as far as like being pretty reserved.
Yeah.
I mean, I try and be vulnerable best I can, but that doesn't mean it feels comfortable.
Yeah.
In certain ways. And it just felt very comfortable with you very quickly and effortless. Like I didn't have to posture or adjust my, you know, tone or speech or like ideas to be accepted. And that was really just apparent immediately. And it was almost confusing in a way because I was like, this is a bizarre feeling. Like normally when you meet someone, there's just so many like masks and like narratives and like judgments and like so many things you have to really like tactically navigate in order to get to the core of a person. But I felt like that was all just, you know, circumvented or bypassed or just didn't need to happen because there was such, I don't know, a potent connection so quickly.
Yeah, we were just like... we were just gravitated towards each other, you know, like in true honesty. And that's something for, you know, anyone who has a first date and you meet someone and you know immediately like, oh, this is it. It's raps. like it's this is a match for me. That is something that's extremely powerful to grasp like in the present moment while you're experiencing it.
Yeah, and you know, I know that like you talk about like share about our first date, and I feel like I go a lot of different places, just how my mind works, but I was like, I think mostly in disbelief and almost like not letting it hit me, you know, what was next to me and around me, because it was a while, several hours, and I think you were like, is this guy gonna pick up what I'm putting down, or you know what I'm saying, like, and I was, again, I
you were very like, I mean, it totally changed throughout the evening, but it took us a little bit, even though it was extremely accelerated.
Yes. It wasn't until the very end of that evening did we kind of embrace more romantically. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, have that recognition like, holy shit.
This
is intense. Yeah. This is passionate. And like, you said the words, again, circling back to that statement that moved me so deeply, that had it all kind of click and integrate for me, like what this actually is like you said, you're everything I prayed for. And again, I've told you this, you know, more times, maybe more than you necessarily want to hear, but I'll share it in this space. Like, there was nothing you could have said that could have impacted me more deeply than that sentiment.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that someone would pray for me, you know, to find them and to be with them was something that, I mean, that's like my language of understanding, as far as like, I'm a prayerful person, and prayer is a very important part of my life and how I understand like myself and my relationships and my space, and you know, where I go to find connection and solace and meaning and direction and all those things. And like here, all of a sudden, like this person laying on my chest, you know, speaking like to my heart, right above my heart.
Yeah.
Right? Where you said these words. Yeah, no, it was so profound for me. And my immediate response was like, you are my family, right? And just being totally caught off guard by that, just again appearing in my experience. Again, because this was something that like I did not believe I would ever necessarily find, you know, and I at a certain level had to find almost this idea of acceptance or like peace with, you know, I love that, you know, this type of love is, I see it, you know, other people have it or they encounter it, you know, and I love that for them. But, you know, I just, my own love for myself was like probably the closest thing that I could find to connect with that, I suppose. And then all of a sudden there's an external, you know, deeply moving and beautiful and like just pure poetic incarnation of that love in front of me. So yeah, that's our first date.
Cancer, Scorpio. Yeah, that was our first date.
That was our first date.
Yeah, thank you.
Did I share it right?
Yeah, you sure did. Nice. We were talking this morning and about this union. Yeah, thank you. And upholding this union and the challenges that we face individually and together, and how it's a choice that you choose, you know, and it's a commitment in a promise to uphold healing individually so that you can attend to the depth and the meaning of your union. That's hard for individuals to make.
It's hard for everybody. Period.
Everybody, period. Tell me more about what you were sharing earlier, because I feel like that reflects, whoever's watching this, that may reflect your journey, and, you know, we've both definitely navigated that too.
How sacred a union is, like truly uniting with another person. You know, our parameters and our agreement and our journey is in a monogamous, like, unifying alignment, right? And that's what brings us fulfillment in that way. But I think that just broadly for anybody listening in any circumstance, in any, you know, ideology or any reflection, you know, to truly say yes to love really requires you to be honest. A lot of people may be believing they want this love, this potency, right? This passion and this you know, this sacrament, really. But are you ready to do what it takes to hold that, right? And that's something that we've had to confront very, very honestly and very truthfully. Like, yo, this is going to require the actual death of this version of myself, so I may be reborn and renewed to hold, you know, something this beautiful and powerful. And that is not an easy thing to do or confront or get real with, because a lot of times, like, for anyone listening who are like looking for love or saying like, you know, this person ain't shit, or this gender is this gender is that, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective,
Yeah.
you're the fucking problem.
Yeah,
and
ourselves.
So that's
yeah.
an important place to, like, I think, reckon with for everybody who's a human. There is a great leveling. Obviously, there's a lot of gender-based violence. There's a lot of gender-based issues and trauma. And I do a lot of work in masculinity, and I will be the first to raise my hand in all ways of how I have perpetrated, patriarchal violence. But going back to this aspect of, like, anybody, asking for a love like this, you have to be willing to recognize the ways that you prevent this love from landing. This love is real, and it is available to you. Whoever you are, like, whatever you're doing, you deserve this love. Whether that love comes from you or that love comes from someone else.
Yeah.
But in order to experience that, you have to be able to be honest and accountable for all the ways in which you prevent love from flowing.
It's honest. It's very honest. Yeah, you said a lot of deep avenues of wisdom. Going off of that, I think it's important that we tie in personal things to share. And when you say what is blocking that love, you could be the one blocking receiving that type of deep love and devotion.
Yeah.
You know what that correlates to. So yesterday, I say we, but I had a deep ceremony, and you were my sitter, and medicine keeper as well in many ways. And there's so many times in this relationship that I have been challenged with that.
Challenged with?
Being in the way
Oh.
of the love and devotion. And yeah, I think with anyone who finds that navigation due to your beliefs or your childhood or your journey or your story or your traumas, your environment, your ancestral lineage, yesterday was a huge ancestral lineage marker in what I had been holding. And this is a huge theme always for myself in this journey and a part of the avenues of wisdom. But to really have an intense releasing of the splitting of yourself and that overtaking of essentially who you are in those challenges is, like, extremely emotional.
When we talk about some of the ancestral work we do, like, we're trying to, like, revisit and revitalize these ancient ways that we know take care of entire family systems, right? Not like the nuclear family, that concept of, like, mom, dad, daughter, brother, dog.
Yeah.
Fenced.
There's just so much more in our
fenced
in
and
our
perimetered
story and purpose,
and, like, segregated and isolated from the whole aspect of family and being and community. And when we talk about our union and what we're building towards, it's union within, wholeness and well-being and, like, a greater union, right? Our union is part of something greater.
Yeah.
Right? And how we care for it kind of determines how it can supportively cooperate. And to me, it's like, why that love is worth it. Like, why we're working for this.
That, yeah.
Right? Because I'll tell you what, it's easier to just not.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
a lot.
make that choice of no and opposition.
Yeah. It's easier to not, improve these things or work on these things or unpack these things or heal these things. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
you know, it requires more numbing agents, you know, coping strategies, sometimes very uncomfortable ones, like whether that's substance misuse or drugs or alcohol or, you know, food or escapism, whether it's like through screen time or like, you know, all these different things.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's like encapsulates the whole meaning of when a person makes a choice to heal for themselves, for their lineage, for their family, for their partner, and for their union, because that's what all comes with elevation and healing. But when you're in relation, you can't really look away from one or the other or compartmentalize that we talked about. You have to face it all. Yeah, that's a message, you know, to anyone that's doing the work, doing the healing work themselves, helping with healing work, you know, tending to the land, helping their family, in relation, dreaming or manifesting relation. I think that's a good reminder to really, you know, face yourself and face everything.
Yeah. It's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it, yeah.
It's not easy.
No.
But it's worth it.
But we can say it's worth it. We can say it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to continue towards the end of this discussion and talk about our ancestors and Creator and how they played a very key role in bringing us together, and how our prayer has created a huge role of bringing us together. And just saying thank you to that. Thank you to that in many ways. How do you feel the ancestors and all of our prayers have played a role in our kinship? Because they've shown themselves in many ways, as this relationship is very spiritual.
For all these pieces, really. I mean, we're only touching the surface of them.
Yeah.
And our best efforts to, like, you know, touch it, to name it, so that it can be seen and hopefully witnessed and, like, held by anyone it can help, right? And I think that's just, again, why we're prioritizing this time and, like, sitting down in this way. Because we just believe, like, you know, this shit is powerful. And to your question, you know, our ancestors, Creator, you know, this experience, I don't even know how to, I feel like language, you know, can only go so far to point to this amazing, loving and divine mystery that we're a part of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, you know, as you name some of those things, I have learned through this experience of connecting with ancestors and, you know, laying down offerings for creation and the things that tend to this beautiful, beautiful dream that we all get to be a part of. I am always looking how to deepen my connection with that. Because again, in I think both of our frameworks, or both of our upbringings, we were semi-disconnected from our line.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and that's painful. That's painful to not know where you're from, to not know your whole story, right? And why it's so beautiful and healing to reconnect with that is you start to understand where you're from is a beautiful uplifting and like wind to the sails of where you're going, where you can go.
You can go, yeah.
Where you can go if you so choose. I don't know, but for me, it's a big part. It's a really big part, and I think for us, that's something that we, again, both valued a lot. And a powerful experience that we both have had very viscerally of just having more than one lifetime shared, in a sense. I don't know personally how else, one
Many lifetimes
expresses or experiences, what we're talking about without the consideration that perhaps this is not the first time we've met.
Yeah.
Right? And whatever your belief system or philosophy is, I don't believe that threatens it, personally. A love like this, I think, is what most religions are based off of. And hopefully what most religions would teach to hold. Yeah, ancestors brought us together in a lot of ways. I spoke very, glancingly just about where I was at before I met you. They were holding me and guiding me and nurturing me, as they always have. But as, my practice and my disciplines and my faith and how my faith applied has evolved, I have been able to tune more into their guidance and their instruction and their care. And as I allow myself, and surrender to something greater than myself, and let that spirit and that wisdom, shepherd me in a way, that's how I found you. It was huge leaps of faith, in a way, doing things that I didn't think were for me, or making life choices or changes that I didn't believe that, I even had what it takes in some ways. But again, the ancestors and their love and their prayers, every time, your grandmother, your abuela, your nana, whoever, has prayed for you, those countless times, those prayers don't ever go anywhere.
Right.
Other than the continuous propulsion and care and protection for your journey. Right? When we believe in them and we honor them and we acknowledge them and we say thank you for that prayer, it magnifies. And it's the same thing of just being in relation right here, right? I'm gonna take the time to sit down and acknowledge, thank you for that effort. Thank you for showing me you love me. Thank you for these things that you've done, for these sacrifices that you've made, for these offerings that you've laid down. Thank you so much. I think in that way, in this example, right, you would begin to feel seen.
Yeah.
Right. And then you feeling seen almost allows the love from your end that was sent to me to sparkle and glimmer a little bit differently. Right. And so when you practice that, I think reciprocity, and I'm saying this I guess in a way for the first time, but as you practice that, it shimmers in a way.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can almost see, wow, so many hands that have tended, to my journey. So many, voices and prayers and well wishes and kind words and kind thoughts and hopes and dreams have had to happen for me to get here. If I take a moment to celebrate that and the privilege, the honor and the blessing to be a recipient of that, all of a sudden I feel like I'm being just a better participant in all of creation.
Right.
I feel like I'm a little bit closer to being when you look at nature and you look at all of its constituents, whether it's the birds, the insects, the plants, the things we can't see, the things we can see, none of it, all of it just fulfills its role in this really, really beautiful and special way. And when you take a moment to be present, you get to see this beautiful cooperation. And I guess what I'm saying is, as you connect to that thing that's so much more than just ourself, you start to realize, oh my gosh, I can be grateful for this little role I play.
Yeah.
In this beautiful like aspect of creation.
That endpoint of like nature is completely itself, and how we work to mirror that and embody that as well. I think that's really important, because that's the aspect of balance and harmony within union, is acceptance and understanding and patience and listening.
And participation.
Participating to heal. Thank you for sharing your expression and your wisdom, and the story of our love.
This is a brief snapshot.
There's so much more to share.
And we'll share more.
Yeah, but there's a introduction, and this is our introduction. So for anyone that is landing on this journey, this is what we've learned. And I encourage you to follow Avenues of Wisdom for more. This is just stories of experiences and lessons, and the coming back to yourself and coming back to union. So thank you, love.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Love you.
I love you.
We can find you among all the things you offer and systems you offer and gifts that you have. Where can we find you and your offerings?
If anyone ever feels curiosity about, working with me, or just sitting down and conversating and just understanding more about these beautiful ways of living, you could find me on my social media now. That's just Mark Kenna.
Okay.
I think we'll drop a tag here. But you can reach out through there. And then, to anybody I share community with, always feel free and welcome to just reach out. I'm just a huge proponent of human connection and how valuable it is, especially in the times we're in right now. I believe humans coming together in, loving ways, in vulnerable ways, in honest ways, is a very, very powerful way to heal a lot of the pain and a lot of the suffering and a lot of the disconnection that we're seeing. It takes organizing, it takes sacrifice, and it takes hard work. But if our journey is any testament, these ways of working diligently but also devotionally are so worth it.
Thank you. They're worth it. You're worth it.
You're worth it.
Thank you for joining on Avenues of Wisdom. Take care, and we'll see you next time for more Avenues of Wisdom.
Goodbye.